So first of all, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
Film Stars Don't Die Liverpool. I was wondering, because obviously you wrote memoir before the film
Yeah.
was being made. How much of a time gap was there?
A big one.
Yeah. So
Very
what is
big one.
it then like coming to it again?
You see, there was a 30-year gap. I had the book published in 1986, and there were, I mean, I didn't intend it to be a book. I was just kind of, it was quite sort of, you know, it's kind of like a process. It was kind of grieving process in a way, and it's quite cathartic, really. And I just kind of, I didn't research it because I didn't intend to write a book. I didn't want it to be a filmography or anything like that. And so it just ended up being Film Stars Don't Die Liverpool, which is a personal memoir. And, you know, to my amazement at the time, there were 11 offers for the film rights. That was in 1986. Because you don't get a part very often that comes along for an American female star in the late 50s, mid to late 50s.
Yeah.
So a lot of kind of well-known actresses wanted to do it. Film development, as you know, is a very precarious kind of journey, and this was really tough. The film was going to be made, you know, kind of like 5 or 6 times, then something happened and it didn't happen. And so we eventually got it made, you know, 2016. So for me, it was like a completion, really. And I was glad that the film did get made when it did, because we wouldn't have had those 2 performances. Annette would have been too young for it 30 years ago, and Jamie Bell certainly would have been too young for it. And I just think that he's amazed. Both of them are incredible. It's incredible performances. And I think that's what kind of hit the critics, really, is that, you know, fortunately we got kind of great reviews from, you know, across America and Europe. They're still kind of coming in because the film is opening, just opened in Germany, it's going to open in Spain at the end of the month, and Sweden and Australia and all the rest of it. So it keeps on coming in, that they're just, it's the performances really, and the direction. I think Paul McGuigan, our director, has just done a beautiful job. And it's well written too, the screenplay's good. By the way.
So, of course, because it's such a personal story,
Yeah.
and I guess, I mean, in kind of the unique position of being an actor yourself,
Yeah.
so what is it like seeing other people kind of take ownership of something that was a very big part of your life?
That's always difficult, but because of the big gap, the 30-year gap, I'd sort of not removed myself from it, but I could have a, you know, I was able to have a distance from it and an overview of it, you know, and I write scripts myself, and so, you know, I know what happens when you're writing a film script, and also, you know, I've been in films as an actor, so I was kind of up for it. I was okay about it all. At one point, I did feel very kind of depersonalized by it all, because, you know, over the last kind of 30 years, particularly with Barbara Broccoli, who had the rights for 23 years, we had a very strong, close working relationship. And then right at the end, suddenly, you know, everybody else comes on, you know, the director, the screenwriter, the costume designer, the makeup designer, the producers, and I mean, the distributors, and it, you know, you do have to kind of just step back and kind of like walk away from it a bit, really. Otherwise, it could be painful. Just, it's like sort of people kind of running into your house and kind of like just taking everything. You know, don't touch that, leave that alone, please. No, I like that, please don't take it away. But fortunately, they kept on going back to the book more and more and more. And again, you know, when you're doing a film, the most important person on a film set is the director, but the most powerful person on a film set is the star. And particularly when they are a big star, like Annette Bening. So Annette had an awful lot to give, and, you know, watching her work as an actress was one of the most incredible experiences I'll ever have. And I did. It started about a year before the film started to shoot. And, you know, we went up to Liverpool together a few times, and I'd meet her in London, and we first met in California, and then we talked on the telephone, we emailed back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And that was, you know, a great kind of privilege, really, you know, watching her work. And again, she just wanted to go back to the book, back to the book, back to the book. So fortunately for me as a writer, you know, they took a lot of my dialogue from the book and put it in the film, and they kind of scenes directly from the book. And I was a lot of writers get upset about you know, what happens in the process, and I understand why. Because, you know, it is kind of like taken over. You know, a book is a book and a film is a film, and you know, they're completely different. But I was very happy with the treatment of it, and the end result of it. I'm thrilled with.
That's really interesting to hear, because yeah, you know a lot of you get to know about a lot of writers who are quite who almost feel like they don't have a part in a film being made because they've told a story and then it's left without.
Well, unfortunately for the producers, fortunately for me, it was inbuilt, because you know, it wasn't like just my book and an adaptation of my book. It's about me.
Yeah.
And that's when it was kind of a bit kind of depersonalizing at times. So they needed me, you know, all the time, really. And and as the filming went on, you know, it became more and more apparent that they needed me. So I was invited to kind of, you know, have quite a lot of input into the whole thing. I got on very well. It's how you get on with people as well. I'm not saying that I'm the easiest person to get on with at all. There were a few things I did get upset by, but the director I got on particularly well, Paul McGuigan, and he's a Glaswegian and I'm a Liverpudlian, and we kind of have the same kind of values, and so, you know, that was a kind of big bonus, and you know, and I had a good relationship with Annette and with Jamie. I mean, Jamie, I didn't want to have too much involvement with Jamie to begin with, because I was fascinated and intrigued by what he would do, you know, and I didn't want to impose anything on him. I thought it was so unfair anyway, and you know, I just knew that he was going to be fantastic, and he is. I mean, when you see the film, I mean, he is just amazing, and he said to me, you know, about a week before we started filming, "Are you sure there's nothing that you want to say to me?" And I said, "No, I don't really want to say anything, but just know that every day when you're makes me cry. Every day when you're filming, you will be with me in my heart." And he was, and he just gives this wonderful performance, and after the filming, you know, we've become really, you know, good friends. We were on tour together for 6 months anyway, so.
Yeah.